Welcome back, friends. Welcome back. Sorry, I am not good with the music yet. We have the situation going on with the computers or whatever, and you've just heard everything I know about this. Jonathan Weissman is a cybersecurity expert, a professor at the Rochester Institute of Technology, and he joins us now. Sir, good morning and welcome to the broadcast.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I so appreciate your time. I know that you're pressed. What's going on, sir? What should we know about it, please?
Well, this is a really unprecedented event in cybersecurity history. There's a company known as CrowdStrike, and they put out a piece of software called Falcon. And the way we describe the software is EDR, stands for Endpoint Detection and Response. And you could basically think of that as a glorified form of antivirus software that runs on major infrastructures like airports and banks and hospitals. We don't need this at home. This is what happens for major organizations to protect themselves from cyber crime. So what this particular piece of software, Falcon, does is it monitors what's happening on the computers. So it's looking for malware, it's looking for fishy activity, it's looking for infiltration and exfiltration. But in order to do this, the software needs to have privileges in the operating system. And as a result of an update that was pushed out by CrowdStrike for Falcon, an update that didn't work well with specifically Windows 10, there are machines all around the world in multiple countries that have blue screens of death, BSOD, which means you see that nasty blue screen that says we can't do anything, reboot, and these machines are in an infinite loop of rebooting. Why are these machines going down? The machines are going down because somebody at CrowdStrike wrote some update for Falcon that didn't work well with Windows. Crazy.
Here's Professor Jonathan Weissman from RIT, who just made this make sense. Well, I'm an ignorant person, but one would guess with that they would test it or something before they turn it loose, or no?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of times you hear recommendations, not just for organizational software updates, but stuff at home. Make sure that you test it so that it doesn't conflict or bring down other systems. But that clearly was not the case right over here. And crazy stuff happening overnight. There are airlines that have grounded their flights. There are lots of pictures going around social media of just blue screens of death everywhere.
Is Professor Jonathan Weissman from RIT looking at reporting out of Europe where they've been up and having their day a little bit longer? They seem to be describing this in fairly stark terms. These systems go down. How do they get fixed? What might the turnaround time be to get rid of the blue screen of death? When does this go away, please, sir?
So, great question. The CEO of CrowdStrike, George Kurtz, put out a message instructing IT workers around the world to go through 4 steps, basically booting into safe mode, going to a certain directory, finding one file, deleting it, and rebooting it. Sounds simple, but you're talking about companies, organizations, infrastructures around the world. There's no update that CrowdStrike can put out to do this automatically. So now you're requiring lots of staff around the world to go and perform these 4 steps when things are going crazy. And sure, customers and clients and chaos are on top of their minds right now. It seems like a simple fix, but it could be a long time before everybody goes through these seemingly simple steps.
Is Professor Jonathan Weissman from RIT. Putting all your eggs in one basket, having a company like CrowdStrike with a good chunk of market share, does this create vulnerabilities like today, or is it offset by the efficiencies of having large folks like this?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, think back when Amazon, AWS went down, and a lot of websites, most of the major websites which depend on AWS went down as well. Because when Amazon goes down, everybody goes down. So now, when CrowdStrike goes down, everybody goes down because CrowdStrike is the market leader in EDR.
Professor Jonathan Weissman is at RIT is an expert on cybersecurity and such like that. If if I'm a business or I'm a hospital or whatever, I've got to have my IT person go through these 4 steps. That's my best and only hope, sir.
You got to go through these 4 steps on all of the affected machines. You can't do this in mass just going through the 4 steps once. You got to go through these 4 steps on all machines that are affected.
Wow. So
it could be a while. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I wonder, this is Professor Jonathan Weissman from RIT, if it is a while, do things, those systems stop, but is there any chance of this cascading? Do those systems being stopped, do they create any other problems down the road? Could this grow, sir?
Absolutely. When certain companies have their infrastructures go offline for certain amounts of time, there could be thousands or millions of dollars lost, flying out of their pockets, flying out of their corporate pockets. So downtime is a very big thing. And in fact, when we talk about cybersecurity, we always talk about the CIA triad. In other words, confidentiality, not letting the unprivileged people seeing certain corporate secrets or source code. We talk about integrity, making sure that nobody changed anything. And we also talk about availability, which means when systems go down, a lot of bad things can happen, whether it was brought down by cyber criminals or brought down by some bad update. So airlines could be backed up. Hospitals could have long lines. This could, God forbid, affect lives, where people can be turned away from operating rooms, regular treatments that they absolutely need. This is still obviously in its infancy right now, this morning, at least in this part of the world. But there could be lots of collateral damage coming down the pipe.
Professor Jonathan Weissman from RIT, a leading cybersecurity expert. Is this hours, days, or weeks till it goes away, do you think, sir?
So there's no way of knowing that for sure right now, but I will guarantee you this. The IT, cybersecurity staffers, the sysadmins, the network engineers, anybody who has a role in terms of cybersecurity and networking, their weekends are shot. They are going to be working around the clock to get this up. And you should better believe that they're going to be doing the nonstop until it's actually fixed mode of operation, because companies are losing money and it could, God forbid, affect lives as well.
Gracious.
So I'm thinking it could be days, about weeks, but we might see some collateral damage down the road. But I'm hopeful that working around the clock, we could get this, for the most part, rectified in hopefully a day or so.
Okay. This is Professor Jonathan Weissman from RIT. In your world, sir, people with your level of knowledge and comprehension of how these things work, how did this story break? How did you find out? What questions were you asking? What's it like as this unfolded from your perspective, please, sir?
Well, for me personally, one of the first things that I do in the morning with my morning coffee is I go through all the latest cybersecurity and networking updates in terms of what's going on in the world. And I spat out my coffee when I the first headline. I'm like, what? When you think about it, companies were urged for years by cybersecurity experts, get some EDR software, monitor everything that's going on your computer, and use CrowdStrike Falcon. And the companies that have taken the advice, paying the price for it, unfortunately.
Gracious. Does CrowdStrike survive this?
From what I saw, their shares are significantly down today. And it's a trend, what happens when there's something bad going on, a bad update or tank. But probably.
It's it's Professor Jonathan Weissman of RIT. Our connection's kind of eroding. Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I apologize. So wait and watch. If we're not the admins, if we're the flying public or the going to the hospital public, it's sort of a wait and watch thing at this stage.
Absolutely. Just obviously from your own machines, there's little to no worry because, again, CrowdStrike Falcon is for major organizations and infrastructures, but a good thing to just take a look at your systems and make sure that all is up and running in case there's some unrelated side effect that might filter its way down to the general public, which is not really that likely. But keep an eye out. It's always good to stay abreast of everything that's going on. It's always good to monitor your systems as much as possible.
It's Jonathan Weissman, a professor at RIT, cybersecurity expert. Is there a way people can follow you or see your stuff, sir?
Absolutely. CSC Prof on X and Instagram. And you can find me on LinkedIn as well by my name, Jonathan S. Weissman. Give me a follow on Instagram and X. CSC Prof stands for Computing Sciences Prof. I also have a YouTube channel with lots of great cybersecurity thoughts. It's Weissman52. Smash that subscribe button. Weissman, Weissman 52.
Excellent. Jonathan Weissman, professor at RIT. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And keep in touch in case something else comes down the pike.
It sure will. Thank you so much. Here's the deal. That made sense to me, which is very good. I want to go take a class from this guy. Take a break. Back with you in a moment on News Radio WHAM 1180.